When we speak of, you've been speaking of how carbon emissions will reduce from these two highways being introduced. I think that is a rather important point, given that this government has oftentimes spoken about climate change and how we could be working towards climate change to reduce it. And that has become a major issue at this given point. So yes, with carbon footprints in fact being brought down using these highways, just take us through the environmental benefits that we also might be seeing with the congestions being reduced on the roads.
From October, you remember, right, Dussehra, when we see, the topographical factor. Largely Delhi, we see the topographical factor, which actually contributes more. So you have a dust pollution. Again, the particles are suspended in the air. Then you burning in your neighboring state. That also, with the wind speed, by Dussehra, it comes down, and then again, because there is a temperature decreases further. So, it always suspended in the air ambient. And more it is always a study sees like the vehicular pollution. Why Delhi need more public infrastructure, it need more connectivity. So once you have a region for the people to adopt to public transport, discourage their private vehicles, and then you have a larger, the open areas, which will decrease the traffic. So that's exactly, you rightly mentioned about 19,000 vehicles, and I'm only assuming in these parts where you see the more traffic. Delhi, Noida, then we see Delhi, Gurugram. So these three cities and bordering areas, largely if you see when the air pollution reaches even sometimes reaches beyond 500. Now all these stretches, if you are decongesting, and there are 30,000 vehicles each time of the day, that's twice a day, you decongesting them, and the usual running time that takes them around 55 to, around 120 minutes, sometimes even, 100 minutes, if it is less, not 90 to 100 minutes. In these time of areas, these vehicles are directly passing, not stopping. Eventually, the carbon emission is reduced by half, as far as vehicular pollution is concerned. So it's a directly proportion to the carbon emission of the vehicle, number of the vehicles that are flying on the road, and duration that they're flying on the road. Decongestion of who want to reach home early. So clearly for the people of Noida, it is beneficial to reach to Gurugram, Chandigarh, Punjab, Jammu and Kashmir, of course, international airport, domestic airport. So all the areas will see the public infrastructure. This is really going to be a great push. And when we see the entire 36 kilometer of the UVR is open, it will eventually connect entire NCR region way faster than it is now. Shreya.
Right. So it reduces the traffic on the inner and the outer ring roads as well as we speak, viewers. In fact, Ashutosh, I will just ask you to help us understand this a little more, the technicalities of it a little more. We're speaking of the inner ring road, the outer ring road, and now this third ring road that shall be added. In terms of interconnections, if you could just take us through what will it rather look like route-wise as well as geographically, how it will be interconnecting, if at all it is.
Okay, so UVR 2, that's like 75.71 kilometer is UVR 2, which we are seeing partially is open, UVR 2 road. So there are 5 packages that it has been developed. In all the packages that cost around 6.5 crores, 6,400 some crore, with nearly about 54 kilometer in Delhi, which is now this transaction is being done. 21 kilometer this part will be in Haryana. Once it is fully operational, the entire 75, it will enable the people of the Gurugram, West, South Delhi to reach NH44. Then they go further Chandigarh, Punjab, Jammu Kashmir faster. So they all what they'll do is they'll bypass the Dhaula Kuan congestion and Delhi's ring road congestion. Now coming to the second part, package 3 and package 4 of this expressway, which once it is operational 10.1 kilometer is. So that will be 10.1 kilometer nearly about in Delhi, which also includes 5 kilometer tunnel connectivity to IGI airport. Now again, eventually if we see the more of these vehicles which are taking left and right going to other parts of Delhi, and those number of people early morning we see when there's a more of flux towards the international airport, all they will take straight to the tunnel, 5.1 kilometers, and straight without any traffic since it's a tunnel, straight take you to the international airport. That will decongest and that will improve the access to Gurugram. Now package 1 and package 2 covering this Haryana section, which is around 29 kilometer between Mahipalpur and Khirki Dhaula, that area, NH48. So that is now being, that was already inaugurated, I think March 2024. So one stretch is already functional. Now, once this is UAR2 to Delhi-Dehradun, remember that there is a future connectivity as well as we talk about. So the next package, this Urban Extension Road 2, will connect Delhi-Dehradun Express. Eventually, now we spend around 4 to 5 hours. That will connect from Akshardham Temple. Remember, there's a construction happening through East Delhi, which is touching down Akshardham Temple. So next extension from the airport road, it will eventually come down to Akshardham Temple. And from here, the people will need not to take NH58, go Meerut bypass, Hapur, and Haridwar. They will stay taking the Dehradun Expressway without stopping anywhere, and in 2 hours from Delhi to Dehradun. So eventually that will also cut down the fuel cost, that will cut down their timing, the burning, and it will ease faster the route of Haryana to Rajasthan. Further, it will provide faster route for the traffic towards Haryana, and then further Rajasthan, and of course from all these two cities to all the way up north to Dehradun. Another 65-kilometer highway which will connect this Tronika city, which is now under construction, that's called FNG, Faridabad Noida Gurugram Expressway. That since it has been already approved. So this highway will link eventually 5 major expressways: Delhi-Dehradun, Delhi-Meerut, Noida Greater Noida, and D&D Faridabad and Yamuna Expressway. So that we see here full packages. All these preparations are being done, and in many phases we presume that maybe in another less than couple of years we will have this entire intersection changed, totally transformed. Shreya.
Right, Ashutosh. And my final question to you would be with regards to the investments in this, because if we roughly look at the investments in both the key projects, it is somewhere around just over 5,000 crores each at this given point that we are looking into. If you can just give us some more details on that very front.
The total investment of this infrastructure is around 11,000 crores. So that's a huge push to the infrastructure sector. And remember, the government has been always, since the budget, we have seen for last at least couple of years, that the capex infrastructure has been more towards the infrastructure budget. So they have largely, the government has focused on capex. And that's what we see. These projects are not just started in a day, because these have been running for over the years, 2-3 years it has been. And that's exactly why we see this is now being transformed in such areas. So that's around 11,000 crore in several pockets. If it is divided, somewhere it is 4,000 crore, somewhere it is 6,400 and some crore rupees. So clearly the push that we are seeing, it is going to eventually help out the people. And that's the capex infrastructure that the government was already announced in the budget is being spent on these areas. Sure.
Right, Ashutosh, thank you for bringing us all those details with regards to this very infrastructure push, the infrastructure bonanza for the national capital that we in fact just took you through, viewers. But that's all the details that we have for you on these two key highway projects at this very point.